Hello class, how are we doing today? Good. Great answers. Today we are going to be reading a book with you called The Year We Learned to Fly. It is about a little sister and a little brother who faces some challenges. But we're going to be practicing something else when we do that. We're going to be doing something called inferring. Raise your hand if you know what inferring is. Anybody feeling comfortable and confident wanting to tell me about inferring? Anybody? Emery, how are you feeling? Try your best to explain inferring for me. Yes, exactly. We are going to be looking at the passage and we're going to answer some questions. But more importantly, we're going to sit and try to figure out what's happening next. We're going to make an educated guess or an infer. So, right off the bat, we are looking in the book. What are we seeing? What are we seeing, Sydney? Show me what we're seeing.
I see like a background with gray leaves and a gray tree, and it doesn't have any leaves. It looks like all the leaves fell.
Exactly. I'm looking at the leaves on the trees and the seasons changing, and I'm going to infer that it's the winter time. I'm going to show you a few different inferences I'm going to make, then we're going to do it together, and then you are going to do them on your own. Does that make sense? Yes, thumbs up if that makes sense to all of us. Perfect. Love it. Okay. That was the year we learned to fly. That was the spring when the rain seemed like it would never stop, and the thunder boomed so loud we weren't allowed to go outside. I'm inferring right now, because of the weather and the pictures that we're looking at, that the kids are probably bored in the house. Raise your hand if you've been bored in the house on a rainy day. Ooh, me too. Yes, the lightning bolts just drain my energy, I'm telling you. Use those beautiful and brilliant minds of yours, my grandmother said. Lift your arms, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and believe in a thing. Somebody somewhere at some point was just as bored as you are now. I do like the pictures. So my brother and I closed our eyes, and for a few minutes on that first day, we weren't stuck in an apartment anymore. We were flying over the city we'd known our whole lives, but it was suddenly different. Exploding everywhere was every kind of flower you ever had seen and we had dreamed of growing ourselves. That was the summer we learned to fly, when my brother and I couldn't stop fussing at each other over whose turn it was to wash the windows, to feed the dog, and to clean the kitchen. We fought and we frowned and made the silent promise to never speak to each other like that ever again.
Like they have no concern for other people, and that is why no important selfish.
I don't know why he has a bucket on his head. That is a good question. Maybe we could do an inference on why there's a bucket on his head since Emery asked us. Any ideas? I'm thinking that he's pretending to do something. Maybe he's feeling silly. What do you think? What do we think? You think the sister put it on his head? Why do you think that? Yeah, they've been fighting. That's a good inference. What do you think, Ellie?
I think since it says wash the windows, maybe he used the bucket to wash the windows, but he just put it on his head.
That is an excellent inference. I'm thinking my inference is that he is pretending to be some kind of soldier and is putting it on as a helmet. That is my inference. My grandmother said, lift your arms, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and stop being mean about everything. Somebody at some point was just as mad as you are now. So we did, and the soft wind took us over the city and past the windows of kids who hadn't learned to fly. My brother and I reached for each other's hand, flying and driving and laughing, and leaving all but our mad far behind us. That was the autumn. Our rooms felt too big and lonely. Only with us in them was the darkness coming on so fast. But while we hugged ourselves against the too quiet of it all, we remembered that we didn't have to be stuck here anymore. My grandmother had learned to fly from the people who came before. There were aunts and uncles and cousins who were brought here on huge ships, their wrists and ankles cuffed in iron. But, my grandmother said, nobody can ever cuff your beautiful mind. So we're going to take a look at here at the picture we have going on. What do you guys see going on right here? What do we see? What do we see? Just shout it out. That's okay.
It looks like her
Well, one
hair.
at a time, though. One at a time. I see ships. What else do we see?
I see that her hair is showing like ships on water.
Ships on water. What else do you see? Where? There's a chain on the bird. Is that what you're noticing? Well, that's a good question. Why do you think there's a chain on the bird? Emery, what do you see? Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, she's talking about people who have come before her. People who are coming before her and people who wanted to break away. I'm sorry, Caleb? Can you put it where? Where do you want? You want me to hold it? Perfect. So I am saying that she is wanting to maybe go away from where she is. Maybe we see the bird has chains on it. What's going on with the chains on the bird? What's going on? The chain is broken, so she's maybe wanting to fly away, break away from the chains, right? So our people learned to fly, she said. They dreamed a dream and made it happen. Closed their eyes and flew all the way home. Lift your arms, my grandmother said. Close your eyes and remember somebody somewhere at some point had to figure out how to fly. Now she's saying people. Who are these people? Who do you think these people are that she's talking about? Emery, what do we infer is going on here? People who are learning to fly. What people do you think are learning to fly? Yes, what people are learning to fly?
Maybe people who was going through her situation.
People who are going through her situation, do you think they're older or do you think they're younger? You think they're younger? Why do you think they're younger? Yeah, she's younger, but the people who came before her, right, are the ones she's relating to right now. Now it's saying something called, people began to fly when they dreamed a thing and made it happen. What do you think they mean by that? That they dreamed a dream and learned to fly. What do you think that means? That's deep. What do we think that might mean? Yes.
Maybe because she dreamed of flying and now she's trying to start to fly.
Do you think she's physically trying to learn to fly here, or do you think it means something else? You think it means something else? Something else? Ellie, what do you think it means?
I think it means happy.
To be happy. That's a really good inference. Let's keep reading and see if Ellie's right. As the winter, we moved away from the building and block and friends we had always known to a street where the kids looked at us funny and didn't answer when we asked them if we wanted to play. It's okay, said my brother. Somewhere at some point had to figure out that they were ready for a new thing coming their way. So it looks like we're facing a sort of challenge here. How does her learning to fly help her with the other kids here? How do you think learning to fly is going to help her with her problem that the other kids aren't getting along with her? What do we think? Emery, what do you think? She said she's going to learn her flying, and she's going to use her flying to help her with the kids in her neighborhood. So Ellie said learning to fly means being happy. What do you think that means for her in her neighborhood? What do you think that means?
If all they learn to fly, they'll be stuck out. They'll be able to get out of the things that's bad happening.
Yeah, they're escaping maybe. They're breaking away, maybe like that bird in the chain, right? So like the people who came before us, we lifted our arms even higher, closed our eyes tighter, breathed even deeper, and flew all the ways we'd known how to, free as the aunties and uncles and cousins who'd come before us, free as our own and beautiful, brilliant minds. For a long time, the kids on the ground watched us. Then, one by one, they lifted their arms. One by one, they learned to fly. So, it seems that she was in a neighborhood where she looked a little different and acted a little different from the other kids in her neighborhood. And she decided she was going to learn to fly. So if we say learn to fly means to embrace change and to be happy, how does the little girl flying inspire other kids to fly? This book is a made-up story, but it's talking about real people's lives. So we talked about that we believe learning to fly means something different, right? So what do you think learning to fly means? I know Ellie talked about it. What do you think learning to fly means? Being happy, maybe embracing change. Has there ever been a time maybe you feel like people haven't embraced change and feel like things are different? Have y'all ever felt that way? Yes. I know sometimes it's scary to go into new situations where maybe you move somewhere new or you go to a different school or maybe you're afraid to try something new, right? Does anyone have a situation where they're afraid to try something new? Emery, what do you have? And that was probably scary, wasn't it? Yeah, that was scary. So what should we take away from the story? What inference can we make from the story? What can we take away from the story? Sydney, what can we take away from the story? That's okay. Emery, what can you take away from the story?
You can take me to sadness.
You can take away inside, maybe focus on being happy, right? What's another big takeaway, something that we could use from this story? Anybody got another one they want to share? Maya, do you have anything you want to share from the story? Yeah, being okay with change, right? Yeah. Well, y'all did an excellent job. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. We're going to end the video here.